try to. But
Arlo's foot slipped on something that was not another bone. Bottles were littering the muddy path now. Whoever left them could not be far.
go do Dora the Explorer later.
More bottles lay outside the forge, which was otherwise as quiet as every other dead thing that haunted this place. The pile of bottles was large, even for one who drinks like a merman. And it seemed to be breathing. Arlo was amazed the merman could swing his hammer, let alone see who he was hitting. A couple of thumps on the head soon brought him to his senses. Following him inside, Arlo realized this must be the smith. But his furnace was as cold and broken as the merman's spirit. The smith hunted bottles as he told Arlo of his woes. The frogs had attacked the village, kidnapping his wife and apprentice daughters. He would not light his forge until they were home. This was a problem Arlo swore he could solve. The smith took some strength from this. He introduced himself as Ron and flashed a grin, telling Arlo the frogs didn't take everything.
Whoops.
While hardly a full armory, Ron had what was needed. This two-handed skull crusher was a gift made by his daughters. He put it in Arlo's paws in hope it would help save them.
That's good, we can start. That means we can find the stuff the other way. We can go back there now. Go in there. See what's downstairs, I guess. Later on. Was there anyone there back here that we hadn't gone? Oh yeah, no, it was, but...
Together, the pair ventured on, heading towards the frog camp situated in the ruined temples.
A big spider. Weird. Why's my phone trying to unlock? That's very nice. Should we go back that way? I guess you can.
At the top of the pile of corpses was one that was not Frog. The smith let out a desperate cry at the sight of his wife, lifeless atop the pile. He cried out again, but this time it was a call for blood.
think I'm supposed to do with this, not right now.
The old rat that stood before Arlo was barely able to raise his head, and his one cloudy eye felt as though it was looking through the warden. As Arlo reached out his paw, the hooded rat slammed his spear into the ground, imparting his gift onto the young warden. Arlo was glad to have met the old rat. Although he looked old and feeble, Arlo was sure that he was more than capable of looking after himself. Before Arlo could act, Ron was in the clutches of the enemy.
Big beast. Okay, ice resistance.
The Night card. Although considered a common card, in the right paws, it has a great deal of power. Approaching the statue, Arlo could feel the familiar buzz of power coursing through his body once again. As he left the statue, Arlo could feel a new power coursing through his body.
Right, what do we got here? Whetstone. Ooh, there's electrum. That looks like a fucking lightsaber. Quest-wise, I might just go do that one just to get it off my screen. But, I don't know. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you didn't really see it, so it's not bad. It's just...
Something else came his way. Tumbling down the temple stair, Arlo was met with another horror. The head of the smith. It was Arlo now who took up the battle cry.
For wrong.
Arlo tried not to think of how many friends, old and new, lay dead. He still had more to do. Rita and Ruby were free, but without their father, there was little for them here. Arlo offered them a new home at Winter's Edge, and a forge to continue in their father's footsteps. The mermaids were grateful, and said they would find their way to the keep once they had laid Ron to rest. A stranger was meditating in the stillness. Arlo gasped. It was a frog. Before he could lift his blade, the frog croaked that he was an outcast named Short Tongue. He'd come to rebuild the ancestral home of Bogmire Forge, a place for frogs who sought peace. No sooner had they agreed a truce than the two warriors had to fight. Side by side, the pair fought well, and the attackers soon disappeared again, back into thin air. Persuaded of the frog's honesty, Arlo left Short Tongue to his quest for peace. In return, the frog swore Arlo would always find a warm welcome there.
The journey's back, but she can have and buy the stuff. Let's see what's going on here. It's always better to use an axe, but
Maggie was gifted at finding shiny treasures, but had lost her precious silver spectacles. Without them, she could not even count the claws on her paws. She begged for the warden's help.
TP back here and finish my other quest that I mean, I don't have to. Silver Spectre. Yeah, right. I guess we had to do their
The fear in Short Tongue's eyes unnerved the warden. The rift had a new threat. Tail spinners. Eggs from these 8-legged beasts had hatched, and frogs were their favorite food. Short Tongue was right. The rift was infested with tail spinners. Their webs would snare all if they were not stopped. Freeing the frog from the web, Arlo sent him back to Bogmire Forge. Arlo hoped he had not caught the attention of the hatchling's mother.
oh, fuck up bed. Oh, that's a ship. Alright. So we're gonna help them re-establish their colony by doing their jobs for them. That's nice of us.
Short Tongue shouted at Arlo's approach. The tail spinner queen had taken frogs captive to feed her young. Arlo did not hesitate. This was a fate he wouldn't wish on even his worst enemy.
Because that's moved so far. I haven't been paying attention to any of that shit. That's why I'm like doing so bad.
They crept up on the 8-legged monstrosity as she ensnared another frog in her webs. The webbing was thick and tough, but their blades soon cut them to ribbons. Short Tongue sent the terrified frog toward Bogmire Forge.
I do like how they're. This is the main quest for this area, just like doing the infestations and stuff. Oh yeah, actually.